The sun is out, the sky is blue, it's absolutely freezing. That tractor's very noisy behind me, and this car is very red. That's not going to stop me reviewing this Mazda CX-30. It's called the CX-30 because CX-4 is already taken in China, so they've made it the CX-30 over here. But nonetheless, still a brand new car from Mazda based upon the Mazda 3 chassis. This one is the Skyactive-X, which is the special new engine, 2-litre petrol, naturally aspirated thing. We're going to test all that as well. So smash the like button, subscribe button, whatever other buttons you can find around the place. I'm sure there's plenty of them. And join me when we have a look on the inside of the Mazda CX-30. Wow, it's cold out there. But there is quite a good solid thud when you close the door of this Mazda. Now it's laid out in a good Mazda way. They've changed everything in here along with the Mazda 3 a couple of years ago, which is done very well. So when I started up, I'm presented with this fixed unit, which kind of annoys me because it looks like it's not supposed to be there. And I'm not really a fan of this plonked on top of stuff, you know. A lot of car companies are doing it these days. I prefer something that's blended in. Some of the bits that don't really work are these 3 vents here, well, 2 vents and a thing in the middle. It just doesn't have a balance. There's no yin and yang, you know, yang and yin. You need something to balance out that vent slot on this side, and it's not there. This one does have heated seats and heated steering wheel. But the actual good parts of this, really good parts of this, is Apple CarPlay, Android Auto are standard on these cars now. But Mazda's own communication system is actually pretty good. You can flick in and out of these screens very quickly. You know, you can go into communication. It's from a twisty knob down the bottom. Now, the problem is, it's not a touchscreen. I could punch people for telling me that touchscreens are dangerous and anything's wrong with them. There's nothing wrong with a touchscreen, I'm telling you. You could easily put a touchscreen into this phone and this car and not worry about it. It's just too far away, and that's the problem. When I twist the knob here, it's not a touchscreen, so I can't do anything up there. So I really am subject to this twisty knob bit. So when I put into Apple CarPlay, I'm stuck with this idea that I can't touch things that's designed to be a touchscreen. Stop that. Give me touchscreens. That aside, that's the only real bugbear. This new system they have here of the dials is nothing short of brilliant. Absolutely gorgeous looking instrument binnacle here in front of it. Really, really works well. Lovely little touches on it, like the red line for the speed limit follows on the speedo. So when you look down, wherever you see a red line is the speed limit for the area. Very, very nice. It has a range on it, how far it can go, and your current litres per 100 kilometres as well. Proper knobs have been left in for my air conditioning system, so I'm 100% with that. And I have a little kind of command centre down here, allows me to go in and out of various things like the volume control. And it's got a beautiful 6-speed manual gearbox, smooth as silk. Is available in an automatic, feels a little bit more robotised, I suppose, than others. And you've got a sunglasses holder, one of the rare things you find in cars these days. The cabin here, I would give it like an 8 out of 10, easy. The tractor is this, and this kind of not balanced vent stuff. Other than that, it's pretty good. Let's have a look at the back seat before we go any further, right? So the back seat is a bit tight. I'll be honest with you, I am bolt upright right now. Like I feel very straight up, and my knees are in on top of my own seat here. So it is pretty tight in the back seat, and it's a little bit dark back here, but it's lifted by this white colour interior. Now the seat lifter through here is a button on the top, and you just let it fall there in front. But you can see I can't get it beyond the passenger seat, which isn't very far back. It is pretty tight back here. Not really a big bugbear for a small family car. It's meant to be a 5-door hatchback. It's just lifted up, same size as kind of Mazda 3 effort. Look at the boot. The back of the car is lovely, I have to say. It makes this weird sort of beep and then lifts up quite slowly. But that's okay. Boot space is actually all right. I've no problem with the space itself, but there is no shopping bag hooks and no way to hang anything. There's nothing actually back here at all. There isn't even a spare wheel. There's only a subwoofer underneath there as well. But like, it's a space, you can fit things in it, it's okay, it's not bad. Right, and you have buttons to close it as well. Let's go for a drive. Out it's cold. So I've set up a little camera here so you should be able to see the dashboard as I drive along the road, so you can see what I'm talking about. The new dash layout and the new instrument binnacle is there as well. I'm going to turn around and go down this little dirt road here. There's horses training here the whole time, and I've noticed more and more now we have like these little security people coming out to make sure that everything's okay. But in actual fact, I've been around horses my whole life. I know my way around a horse, and I know what horses can be skittish and all. That's great, but it'll be fine, you know, it'll be fine. Now, Mazda have this habit of making something sporty when it's unnecessary to do it. So, generally speaking, when you go along to a Mazda press conference, you usually hear a lot about the MX-5, even if the press conference is about something else entirely. Because the MX-5 has been held up as their sort of halo car for many years. It's been the best-selling sort of two-door roadster thing for years and years and years, obviously because it's the most affordable one as well. Now, that affordability means that Mazda has always been held up as an affordable brand. But in more recent years, Mazda has gotten a little bit more expensive. So a very basic version of this car starts just a shade under 30 grand. When you figure out what you get is actually more affordable than electric cars or anything. But this Mazda Skyactive-X is this version of it. Now you're going to have to go to the configurator and spec this up for yourself to figure out what you want to spend on it. But if you're playing with the spec enough, you're going to get very quickly up to the 30 grand, 35, 40 grand mark on this car without any trouble whatsoever. Now this is a 2-litre petrol, naturally aspirated, no turbo. And it's so predictable. I love it. I love the engine. It's a predictable power that goes with this engine. And that's what I really like. It's very easy to figure out what it's going to do as you come out of a corner, what gear you need to be in, because there's no turbo going to cut in and start pulling the bits out of you. The rev range goes up like to 6,500 RPM, thereabouts, which seems low for a petrol. I mean, petrol will normally go up as far as 8, you know, before the pistons come out and hop around the bonnet there for a while, but it never really feels urgent, and there's a good couple of reasons behind the lack of urgency. But the torque, it's 122 PS, but the torque is only 213 Newton meters, so it never feels like you're being punched in the face by the power of it. It just feels like it's got this predictable long legs of a rev range. And that's kind of interesting in its own sort of way, because that gives you a predictability when you're driving. Now this is available in 4-wheel drive as well, same engine, 4-wheel drive version. And so it's kind of an interesting package of a car. Now why I wanted to look directly at the instrument binnacle is it's bright and clear in every sunlight, and the sunlight is literally shining down on top of it directly in the window behind me, and yet I can see everything on it. It's a very nice, very easy to read instrument binnacle. Now also on the instrument binnacle are some cool little features to point out. Everything is so visible, everything is so clear and easy to read and easy to understand, and yet, you know, when they're talking about the fuel economy of the engine, they go on about how low it is and how reasonably priced the car is to run, and how, you know, you get diesel fuel economy from a petrol, and yet I'm getting 7.4 litres per 100 kilometres there as an average. That's not very good, I'll be honest with you. Maybe over time, maybe if I drove it every day and was pretty cautious with it, I'd get better. Looking at the little readout beside it, what tells me the instantaneous litres per 100 kilometres, I never seem to get very far above 5, you know. I seem to be getting 5, but my average seems to work out at 7.4, and that's according to the car. So that's not fantastic fuel economy. Skyactive-X has no turbo. Now what that means is it's naturally aspirated. Now the natural aspiration is done by high compression. So what Mazda has done is the first kind of engine of its type. So they've increased the compression ratio within the engine, and without getting too technical, it means you get more power, but you don't need to have to put a turbo in there. There's both good and bad points to that. Turbos and superchargers do a very particular kind of job. They give you a sort of mid-range boost. So halfway through the rev range, a turbo cuts in 1500, 1800 RPM and gives you a boost to give you more energy from the compression ratio you're getting. Whereas a non-turbo car, non-supercharged car, doesn't have that ability. So it gives you this constant sort of feeling of extra power without having to go too wild. It's something that's been around for a long time. It's the first time anyone like Mazda has ever done anything like extra compression within the engine to get what they're looking for. If I was to rate the car, I think it's actually one of the nicest cars in this segment. I really do. I think it really does compete very, very well against the competition in it. It does such a good job at getting you along. Apart from the slight design things that I have an issue with in here, the infotainment system, I wish it was a touchscreen. I really do. It would be so easy just to convert that into a little touchscreen and get that job done, because it's a really good infotainment system. It just drives me bananas that I have to use a wheel to do it the whole time, and that's my bugbear with that. But other than those little factors, I think this is a really, really sensible buy from Mazda. I think they've done a really good job, particularly in the instrument pinnacle sitting position. This steering wheel, which weights up kind of nicely in every single corner. That 6-speed box is great. And the Skyactive-X engine, fuel economy, okay, I'd have to test it for longer. I think I'd have to test it for a couple of weeks or maybe a month or something to figure out what it is, but I think it's actually pretty good. As an engine, it seems very nice. Okay, hopefully I've covered everything you need to know about the Mazda CX-30. If you have any questions or comments, please leave a message down below. You could check out those little support links down there as well. It'd be really good if you could, because it's an independent channel. It's just me, you know, me. I'll leave a little behind the scenes things next as well. Thank you very much for watching, and until the next time, I will see you on the far side. Behind the scenes, I got a new camera, not new, second hand. Lots of you chipped in so I could get something like this, which is a Sony X3000 4K camera, and it's pretty good. So far, what I've been using it for has been pretty good, and I've used it a lot in the review of this Mazda CX-30, so I was quite happy with that. It's very stable. I have it on a clamp there now, but it's really stable. There goes a guy gone by there now in a BMW 5 Series, and it's a diesel one, and he's absolutely booting along. Anyway, who got caught? In other news, I'm coming on to the next N7 section that is now 120 kilometers an hour, so everybody tries to do 100. Don't know why it's 120. It might be the width of the road or the fact there's 3 lanes now. I'm not sure. Truck. So many trucks. Eddie Stobart looks full, very full, like overflowing full. It got sunny. I put my sunglasses on. Just on the edge of Dublin now. Just on the edge of the city centre, like passing the Maldron Hotel. Now this is the nature of my life, this putting things in bags, making sure I don't forget anything, nothing gets left behind, least of all the cameras and things. But I actually use them all. I use every one of them, so what do I get rid of? It's like, you know, get rid of one of my kids. Let's get the rest of my stuff. Come on, you come too. Lock the door. When you walk away from this car, it self-locks, which I quite like. Welcome to the yard of Mercedes. That's my car over there. Right, I get to put all my bags into the boot of this car now. And move over that stuff. There's so much stuff. There's the stuff in the boot of this. I'll show you what this is now. Here we go. EQC. Isn't it cool? Look, I love the strip light here. Really cool. It's got side step. It's got big grille. Looks cool, isn't it? 1886 written all over it. Social media as well, you see. I am filming myself filming things inside the EQC. Deadly. I love the dash. Really pretty. Anyway, roll on the weekend. More electric cars. Okay, we got 279 kilometers of distance to go. And I'm going to leave now. Of course everything is electric in here. Hold on.